Hello everybody, welcome back to the Landedkiller show. Today I will be covering the topic of Superships, as it's been a while since I made a decent video on them. Now, my main grievances against Superships are well known at this point, but what I think that really shocked me was reading the dev article and finding out that these Superships are going to be very costly indeed. Like, we're looking at 360,000 service costs for these things, and the camo's not going to reduce the cost, which of course it's probably not, because let's be honest, how are they going to sit there and do the camo rework? Are they going to sit there and get rid of the economic reduction somehow, or are they going to keep them in a different form? That's what I think is most curious. But back to the main topic, Superships. So I'm going off the dev blog that they put out here. So the purchasing costs of Superships are as follows. For the battleships, it's 57 million credits. For supercarriers, it's 48 million credits. For supercruisers, it's 47.5 million credits. And for destroyers, it's 45 million credits. So credit earnings will be similar to Tier X ships. Post-service costs will be set to 360,000. Permanent camouflage will not reduce service costs or increase credit earnings. They'll give higher XP per battle. When you reset a branch, Superships will be kept. Battles with Superships are going to be involving the tiers 9 and 10. Battles with only Superships possible. And update 11.3, only Superships that have already been openly tested will be introduced. Satsuma, Hanover, Conde, and all the rest. You know what I mean. The ships that won't be included will be Edgar and Patre. Those won't be included, but all the other ones that you've seen in testing will be, including Eagle in the United States. Honestly, I have been seeing little patches of resistance here and there to Superships, but it really hasn't picked up to mainstream at all at this point. I think the main thing to remember here is that Superships are going to really just wreck the balance of the game, because they have special abilities and all that, you know? I honestly don't understand the thought process behind introducing these ships, besides maybe giving endgame players more challenge, but I thought we had already achieved that with Research Bureau, honestly. I mean, to get a Research Bureau ship requires you to reset at least 4 to 5 lines, sometimes 6 lines. It's ridiculous how much free experience it takes just to do that if you use free experience, or if you have to grind it. Needless to say, I think the cost is actually higher to get a Research Bureau ship versus a steel ship, which is surprising because you would have thought the steel would have been harder to get. But yeah, I think one of the big things that we have to acknowledge with these Superships is the fact that they have very strong strength in battle with their special abilities. Like Hanover, as you can see here, gets the strong secondaries, which it can sit there and just decimate everybody in battle. You know what I mean? It's just plain ridiculous at that point. My throat's been bothering me some because it's the allergy season again. So that's why videos have been shorter than usual, honestly. It's hard to carry a video when your throat's just hurting you a bit. So I gotta sit there and look into some allergy meds for that. But alas, one of my biggest things that I think that needs to just change with the game is just the introduction of a modern tech tree that's separate from the artillery ships in some form. I keep coming back to this idea because it makes the most sense, with Superships being the Tier 1 and completely removed from the current game, except in that modern branch. Now, I think that the reasons or why superships are suddenly coming into the game may be due to the sudden decline of the population in the RU region specifically. I think that they may have introduced them to give them some sort of a strong bullying point to bully the lower tiers with them, is my guess. Nothing's officially confirmed, of course. But yes, obviously there is a lot of tensions going on right now over there. I've touched on that in previous videos, and I will always be supportive of people donating to the Ukrainian Red Cross to help those efforts. One can only hope that the conflict does not escalate any further, as it is something that any day could balloon into something larger. Especially if China decides to get involved with this stuff. As for superships, are they good or are they bad? Well, I guess we could point out some of the good reasons, such as being able to have unique ships which have special firing capabilities, and being able to have more upgone designs, I guess, like the Tillman designs. Because eventually, if you think about it, like, if you look at the hull of the United States, right, that they could easily use that hull as a basis for a battleship, which I think is what they're going to do. Now, I'm kind of curious to see what Montana's progression is going to be like for that supership in particular. I'm thinking they're going to go along the designs of maybe increased accuracy for it. I don't think secondaries make any sense for it, honestly. Whatever the Super Montana is going to be. I mean, it must be taking them some time to design it, as they haven't came out with it already. That and the super ship design for the Vermont line, that's going to be interesting too. I wonder if they're going to go with a 5-gun Tillman design. Like 5 turrets, 3 guns each, 457mm caliber. For the British, it begs the question is if they're going to be a strong ship or not in the future, you know what I mean? I mean, the British just have so many unused designs that are not yet present in the game that they could draw from. But honestly, I think the one that I'm most interested in is probably Super Venezia. I want to see if they're going to go the 6-turreted route or if they're going to just be lazy and just give it the burst fire like they have been for the other cruisers. I just hope that they take their time with this balancing process for these ships, because it seems like the super carriers are kind of getting a little rushed in at the moment. Like, I'll come out with a super carrier gameplay. The footage is already recorded, but it's like 20 minutes long, so I gotta just get myself something to help with the throw so I can work through it. So that's why you're not seeing uploads on the other channels really at the moment, is because the throat's been bothering me a little bit, and I'm still trying to get it cleared out. I just tell you, it's the most annoying stuff ever. Because a video like this typically would be easy to record, but now it's a struggle in itself just to record it. But I find that I do well in the battleships, but I struggle on the cruisers, and for some reason I'm super good at the darn super carriers. That there's this awesome video idea I'm going to do next, which I'm going to show you a gameplay of the United States eventually. The footage is recorded, but again, I got to voice it over, of course, so that it makes sense and all that. So please don't get mad at there not being as many videos coming out, because my throat has been bothering me and I'm just trying to work through it, so yeah. I'm still trying to think of how I'm going to do the Midway video, to be honest. Probably not the Midway, the United States video. I'll have to think about how I'm going to approach that. But honestly, I think the game is going out of whack with all these super ships, and I'm not really supportive of them still. I feel like the negatives are is that all the tier 10s are going to be outclassed by these guys. And I know that hardly anybody's mentioning this now, but I could easily see them doing a steel ship that is a super ship. That's how I think they're going to introduce the premiums for super ships. It's going to be steel. It's going to be in clan battles. That's what I'm thinking right now. I think they're going to focus on finishing out the tech trees and then probably toss in a steel ship or two, and that's how they'll do it, and they'll get players used to that. And then they'll start introducing coal ships that are super ships. I'm thinking that they're going to do this because that's kind of how they did the premiums for tier 10. I wouldn't rule out a tier 12 at this point. I honestly wouldn't, because of how ridiculous these ideas are going. I think it's just an attempt to appease the RU audience and the endgame players more than anything. As someone who's played the game for a long time since closed beta, these super ships just do not appeal to me. I will, of course, have to likely get one or two of them, because who knows if Wargame is going to try to do a super ship only clan battle season. I hope that they don't, honestly, but it could easily happen. I mean, we've already had them in ranked with tier 10, so maybe that's how they'll do it. Maybe it'll be like one super ship allowed per battle or something. But honestly, I still think ships like Conde and Zorki are still pretty OP for the super ship tier. I think their ability to rain down that so many shells at once is just ridiculous. I would have rather had these ships balanced around in a separate tech tree with the modern ships being introduced finally, because I would like to see the Kitty Hawk make it into this game somehow. Like, maybe they can take the missile systems off and like replace them with World War II AA or something. I don't know. But since Kitty Hawk's getting scrapped, I would like to see it preserved in some form. Maybe a special game mode or something. I don't know. But as of right now, I just really hope that Wargaming does not make the colossal mistake of introducing super ship premiums right away. I hope that they are smart enough to wait a few months before they do it, but considering that they made premiums at tier 10, I would say that the door is wide open for super ship premiums. If they're going to be sold in the premium shop at this point, I have no idea. I think it's just going to be mostly just special steel ships or coal ships for the first year of these super ship premiums, hypothetically, and then they'll do the ones for cash directly. Or if they're super greedy, they'll sit there and put them in the shop right away. I think we're going to be looking at probably $175 to $200 if they introduce super ship premiums directly in the shop. But I think they might take the more elusive action of putting them in auction and doing it that way. And I will say that I do not want there to be super ship premiums. I do not want there to be more tier 10 premiums, but it's inevitable at this point, knowing Wargaming and how profit driven they seem to be these days. God help us all with this nonsense. I really don't want these super ships in the game, but at this point it seems like there's little I can do about it. I just hope that you guys just are able to just be constructive in your criticism of Wargaming and just remain simple with that. I will try to do the video on United States as soon as I can, but it's been bugging me, so we'll see how that goes. Don't forget to like, watch, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.